Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our tour of LoyaltyLion's new and improved dashboards. In this session, we'll be tackling the big question of how you can understand the revenue impact of your loyalty program. I'm afraid this session does not include a Q&A. However, if you do have questions, we want to hear them. You can still drop them into the chat and we'll come back to you after the event. So to help me tackle this all-important topic, I'm really pleased to introduce our two experts, Freddie and Hannah. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. Could you introduce yourselves and tell everyone what it is that you do here at LoyaltyLion?
Hi everyone, as Fee mentioned, my name is Hannah. I am one of the Senior Customer Success Managers here at LoyaltyLion, and my role is all about looking after the brands here at LoyaltyLion that work with us and ensure they're getting the most of the platform. So I'm the person to come to for strategy advice and also just give you updates on how the program's performing.
Hello everyone, my name is Freddie. I'm a Senior Product Manager here at LoyaltyLion. I look after the roadmap and product development.
Fantastic. It is great to have you both here. Thank you so much. We will get stuck in. So first of all, Freddie's going to take us away. Freddie, what can you tell us about these new dashboards? We'd love to hear a bit about the discovery process that you went through and why did you land on surfacing the particular set of information that we have?
Sure. Thanks, Fee. I'll be very happy to talk you through our discovery process a little bit. So we started basically by talking to brands. We wanted to get an understanding of what insights were missing, what didn't they have good visibility of in product. Over and over, we heard we needed to make the program's impact on customers and overall business performance much more accessible and less opaque in platform. The feedback was invaluable. It highlighted two critical gaps. Understanding the distinct behaviors between customers who are engaged with the loyalty program and those who are not, and also being more transparent as to how much revenue the program has contributed to the business. To tackle this, we spent many hours working with brands. We worked through Miro boards, Figma prototypes to get feedback on our thinking, get input on some of our approaches, logic, and models. I think we spoke to around 100 brands throughout the discovery process. Attribution was particularly challenging as it can be a slightly contentious subject, but I like to think we took brands along the journey and ended up somewhere that everyone agreed was fair and reasonable. We also spent time working with brands to learn which KPIs mattered to them most and how they measured loyalty performance and engagement. This helped us prioritize and ensure the charts and metrics we surfaced within the dashboard would be highly adopted by brands internally. All of this discovery work over a few months, phone calls, Zooms, surveys, etc., all fed into the loyalty dashboard and insights that we launched during Q1.
Fantastic. 100 brands, that's amazing. I'm going to have to listen to some of those calls because I am really fascinated. Thank you very much, Freddie. So, Hannah, next we'll hand over to you. First of all, I'd love to know how you think brands are finding the dashboards, but also give us a whistle-stop tour of the dashboards themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. More than happy to share my screen and give you a whistle-stop tour of what the dashboard looks like. But before I do that, to answer your question, brands have really been loving the new dashboard. I've been hearing some fantastic feedback from all of the brands that I work with saying we have definitely leveled up the data that we're surfacing now, making it a lot more easier for brands to understand how they're actually performing and how much revenue they can really directly attribute to the loyalty program. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. Please forgive me if I'm glancing over at my left. This is the screen that I'm going to be looking at. And as we said, if you have any questions about any of the graphs that I run through, please feel free to ask any questions and we'll be happy to help after the call. So let me just share give me one moment. There we go. Hopefully everyone can see that okay. So when you first log into LoyaltyLion, this is the first dashboard that you'll see when you log in. Here you can see there are a multitude of different graphs that we surface. What you can do when you first log into LoyaltyLion is the first thing you'll be met with in the top left-hand corner is the data picker. So it's really obviously important for brands to understand how they are performing on a quarterly basis, on a year-on-year basis, or even on a more granular level if you're running promotions and such, so you can really see the impact that has on the results. We also have the, firstly here, the revenue attributed to the loyalty program graph. And this is really mainly where a lot of brands look to see how much revenue the loyalty program is driving for the business. If you're ever wondering what you're really looking at with these graphs and you want to get granular with the kind of what it actually means, you can see here you've got tooltips under each of those graphs here, like so. And you also have that very much the same for all of the kind of segments here, so you can see kind of what we're actually measuring, and yeah, easy to understand, so you don't have to always ask your CSM or the support team. So here, these two top graphs are really, really important. It allows you to understand from the revenue that the loyalty program is attributing, where the revenue is actually coming from. So here you can see there's a few different buckets here, and the main ones we really focus on are the redeem or repeat purchases and the loyalty components. So you're probably thinking, okay, what does that mean? So to get a little bit more granular, this loyalty components kind of section here, this looks at customers that have used points on a purchase. So they've redeemed a reward, they've then gone on to make a purchase, and then we look at that revenue from that purchase and attribute it into this bucket of revenue here. The other important revenue bucket that we also look at is the redeem or repeat purchases. So this looks at purchases made by a customer who has previously used a loyalty reward but haven't done so on this purchase. Now, we find this really important as we can directly say that the customer has seen the loyalty program, they've interacted with it, and on many occasions they've done that multiple times, but they just haven't done so on this purchase. And there could be many reasons for it. It could be that they don't have enough loyalty points yet and they've used them all up on a previous purchase, but nevertheless, this data is really important because we know they are interacting with the program and therefore driving revenue to your store. Now, I'm not going to go too granular with the other ones for today, just because I'll be here all day chatting you through these graphs. But as you can see, we also measure referral revenue and emails and SMS as well. So if you integrate your email provider or your SMS provider into LoyaltyLion, we can also measure the revenue that has been brought in via the loyalty events that we send, such as reward available emails, points expiry, and all of those different types of things. So that's that first graph, which is super, super important. We also have the attributed revenue contribution. So what we also are surfacing here is the revenue from your store as a total, which you'll see in the all other revenue. So this looks at revenue come by guest customers, for example, who are purchasing on your store and haven't created an account on your store yet, and maybe members that haven't interacted with the loyalty program yet. So what we are surfacing here is that you can really see, okay, on this 12-month basis that we're looking at the graph, we've got attributed loyalty revenue from customers that are interacting with the program on a regular basis. So you can really get a good understanding of how much revenue they drive on a holistic perspective within this graph. So what you'll usually see over time is this gradually increasing. It won't be a sudden spike, for example. It usually is a nice curve as the loyalty program becomes more established over time. Lastly, we also measure other metrics within our dashboard. So we look at revenue by buckets. So within LoyaltyLion, we surface data based on non-members, non-redeeming members, and redeeming members. So the difference in those is basically the customer's account status, so whether they are enrolled in the program. And then we also look at who has actually interacted with our software, so who has redeemed points. And we find that really important, as we obviously know that customers who interact with loyalty programs tend to purchase on a more frequent basis and spend more on your store as a whole. So this is what mainly these graphs look at, is it looks at the behavior of those different segments within LoyaltyLion, and you can easily measure and track the differences in customer spending behavior on your store. So here we've got the total revenue, the customer lifetime value, the average purchase frequency, and then also the average order value as well, which is obviously super important for you to see the changes over time, and usually when you look at the data picker, there's usually an upward trend, especially when we look at the customer lifetime value and the average purchase frequency as well. So that's a little bit of a whistle-stop tour there. When you also have tiers in LoyaltyLion, we also allow you to be able to filter by tiers too. So I'm going to head over to this second graph here. Now, it's because I'm in a demo store, you don't actually see this this kind of drop down in this demo store environment. But usually once you have tiers live and they're launched on your store, you will have the option to also have a drop down so you can filter by the tier metrics too. So this allows you to see the differences in customer spending when it comes to the different tiers within your platform. We obviously know that tiers are really important. It allows you to provide a really personalized experience for your most loyal members. So we do have brands that use their tiers for really exciting benefits that really resonate with their customers. So that might be things such as early access to sales. It could be free shipping on every purchase. It could be entry into prize draws and giveaways. So it really does depend on what resonates with your customer, but it allows them a really kind of unique customer experience on your store, and it allows them to understand why they should shop with you versus maybe another brand in your space. So as you can see, we do this for all of the graphs in the bottom section, as you can see here. So on this demo environment, we've got the bronze, silver and gold tier. And here it gives you a really nice overview of how much revenue they are contributing to your store, as well as the customer lifetime value and how much in a customer's lifetime for each of those tiers, how much a customer would spend. So this is and differ on store to store. I wouldn't be alarmed if you are a customer with LoyaltyLion already and you're thinking, my graphs don't look like that. It really does depend on the industry that you're in as well when it comes to the data that you're seeing here. A average order value, for example, in a subscription business may differ largely to a customer that we work with who has a homeware business, for example. So a customer might be purchasing more from a business that is a subscription business, for example. Don't be alarmed if your graphs don't look identical to this, but as you can see, it's really useful to see the different types of behaviours within each of those tiers that we report on. So, for example, the average purchase frequency, we can see the bronze tier spend 1.4 times versus a gold that spends 3.5 times a year. So what we intend to do with this data is really for you to get more granular with the different spending behaviours within kind of your LoyaltyLion platform. And then it allows you to capture and think about what promotions you can run to really influence the numbers, to drive more sales. Maybe if there's a lower time in the year, what we can do to use the loyalty program to enable you to get your business to where you want it to be and really elevate the results. So that's my section of the kind of presentation done. So I'm going to hand it back over to Fee.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Hannah. It is, you know, as a marketer, I know firsthand how difficult it is to make a case for investing in tech, to make decisions about where you're going to invest your time, where you're going to invest your budget. And it's fantastic to see, you know, as clear as day, actually, this is the return I'm seeing. But then also the granular metrics make it so much easier to say, actually, we need a promotion here or there. And tracking the results, it's gold. It really is. So thank you so much for that whistle stop tour.
Sure.
I'm going to come back to you now. Stolen your thunder slightly there, but I would love to hear your thoughts on what brands should actually do with all this data. Could you give us maybe just your top 3 recommendations of, you know, I've got my data in the dashboard, I'm looking at it, what do I do next?
Yeah, of course. Firstly, we recognize that brands have internal loyalty champions and practitioners. This dashboard helps to equip them to communicate the importance and the impact the program is having on their customers, their brand, and ultimately the business's bottom line. Secondly, it gives you a much more tactical view, as you both alluded to. When planning campaigns, promotions, or events, having a better understanding of the customer lifetime value of a redeeming program member helps in acquisition activity spend. Knowing that potential LTV of a participating member allows you to calculate how much you can afford to spend on acquiring them, but your loyalty program and its rewards and rules gives you another vehicle to increase that LTV and offset the cost of acquisition faster. Lastly, where the potential value is, right? All brands are at different stages of maturity, as Hannah mentioned. So being transparent about where your revenue is coming from is crucial for decision making. Those with high enrollment and high redeeming member spend, for example, might look to nurture those customers more. Or if the program is young and most of your customers are non-redeemers, you might want to be focused on more activation style strategies. Having that view of your customers allows the business to make much, much more informed decisions.
100%. I'm going to jump back to your second point there. I read a terrifying stat the other day. I think something like acquisition costs have increased 60% in the last 5 years, which is, it's such a challenge, such a battle. So it really is to be able to see, okay, I need a customer to stay with us this long and make this many purchases, not just to, make back that acquisition cost, but then to start building on it is super valuable with the challenge of ad costs and everything going up all the time. Thank you so much, Freddie. So there you have it, our new dashboards and how to use them. We're really excited by the feedback we've had on this so far, but we always want more. So if you're a LoyaltyLion customer already, then please do reach out with any comments or questions that you might have. If you're not yet a customer, but you've got questions on the dashboards or the data points we've talked about, then we would love to hear from you too. You can head to loyaltylion.com/demo to arrange a time to ask those questions. A huge thank you to Hannah and Freddie for joining us today and for sharing their expertise. Really, really valuable insights from both of you. Thank you so much.